for any complex type that has a bind async, it's going to use the bind async unless we specifically or explicitly specify where the data source is. Right here, I'm not going to say anything. Therefore, it's going to use the bind async method. And when we use the bind async method, we're going to create this registration object anyways. So it's not going to be null. All right. So the second endpoint I'm going to create is my map post. And register is going to be the path. And for here, if I just let me just copy and paste this whole thing. Copy and paste this whole thing over here. And if I do it this way, okay, without doing anything special, the registration information will also come from the query string because it's going to use the bind async. So in order to skip that, I'm going to use explicit model binding. I'm going to say from body. All right, now we can give it a try. Let's click on the run button and let's try to execute these two endpoints. All right, so we don't have anything specified on the root, therefore we receive HTTP error 404. So let's go to slash, and what is the path? It's register. Now we have two of them. The first one is from the query string. So we're going to provide the query string, and we're going to say email equals, let's say Frank, okay? And I'm just going to hit and it says user Frank is registered successfully. Why it is happening like this? There's no validation. That's because we specify the annotations on it, but annotations don't work yet. Why they don't work yet? Well, we need to install the NuGet package, the minimum API extension NuGet package. So let's right click on it and then go to manage NuGet packages. And then go to here and say minimal APIs. And the first one should be the one. Actually, this is not the one. I think it's called minimum APIs it's this one. And click on install. Click on I accept. Okay. Now let's go over here. So how to enable validations with annotations after we install the NuGet package. We need to come over here. I'm going to say with parameters. I think it's called parameters validation. Yeah, with this. And let's copy this and paste it over here. All right, so let's give it a try again. Okay, and here is our previous tab. Let's close this. We can still use this tab. I'm going to hit enter on this. Now we can see some error message here. Okay, email field, invalid email address. Password, confirm password is also required. Okay, now let's change this to like frank@abc.com. So this is a proper email address. Let's hit enter. And now, well, the email address actually passed the validation, right? So if I don't provide anything, I'm going to receive all three fields validation. So email field is also required here, right? So let's go back. So now we have the email properly provided. Now let's provide the password. For password, I think it's PWD1. And then if I say ABC, I hit enter, I'm going to receive this error message. Password must be at least 6 characters long, and confirm password is also required. Okay, so I'm going to say ABCDEF, and then I hit enter. Now the second validation also passed, right? We provided the correct password. I mean, not the correct password, but password with the correct format. Now I need to provide the second password, and I'm going to just say DDD, and then I hit enter. And now you can see that it doesn't pass the last validation, which is password need to match. So let's match the password. So ABC DEF, and then I hit enter. Now I get the user registered successfully. All right. So this is the whole process for the first version, the whole testing process. Okay. For the second one, it needs to go from the body. So let's go in here and then let's create another request. Okay. And then this is going to be post. And then let's go back to our browser here and copy this path, the whole URL here. And then let's go to body. So we need to post a JSON to represent the user that needs to register. And the first field is email. So I'm gonna say ABC, and then is it still running? I hope it's still running. Let's click on the send button. Now it's indeed still running, but it says invalid email address. We're gonna do the same set of testing. Okay, so I'm gonna add this back, frank.com, and click on send. Now the email validation passed, right? So if I don't do anything, if I take away all of this and click on send, so well, registration was not provided from the body. This is 400 bad requests, so this is different. So what if I just leave curly brace empty and then click on send button? Now I have a different error message here. All right, let's put the email address back. Now let's go to the next one, which is password. So here, this is not the PWB because we're not using the bind async method anymore, right? We're not using the bind async method. We are directly binding to this from the body. So it's not PWD. It has to be password because it needs to correspond to the name of the property here. So let's use password, and then I'm going to say ABC. I'm going to do the same set of testing. Click on send. So we see password must be at least 6 characters. So I'm going to say DEF. Okay, and click on send. And that one passed the validation. Now it's just the last one. And I'm going to say confirm password. And here I'm going to say AAA and click on send. So passwords do not match. Now let's match the password. So ABCDEF. And that should register the user. So we received the proper message, which is 200 OK. That's the status code. And the message is back. So we completed the 2 versions of the endpoint handlers. Now we need to answer the final question. So the final question is, which one of this version is better? Should we use the GET request or should we use the POST request? Should we pass registration information through query string, or should we pass registration information in the HTTP body? The answer is the POST request is better because for the GET request, the registration information is within the query string. So when the registration information is within the query string, that means you can see the password in clear text. You can see the email address left right here. So the browser actually remembers the URL as browsing history. Anyone who has access to the computer will be able to see your URL. For example, if you create an application and someone use it in public library and forgot to clear the browser history, then the next person will be able to see it from the URL. So the browsing history cannot remember what's in the body. Therefore, it's better to use the second version, which is from security perspective, the second one. All right, that's everything I want to talk about in this video. I hope you had fun implementing this little exercise. And if you have questions, please let me know. If not, I will see you in the next one.